वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं च नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भगवती नैष्टिकी। So continuing with the discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 6, Prahlad instructs his demoniac schoolmates. Text number 27 onwards. Jnanam tadetam alam durvapamaha narayano narasakha kil naradaya ekantinam bhagvastat akinchananam padarvinda saplut dehi nam sya. Narayan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the well-wisher and friend of all living entities, formally explained this transcendental knowledge to the great saint Narad. Such knowledge is extremely difficult to understand without the mercy of a saintly person like Narad. But everyone who has taken shelter of Narad's display succession can understand this confidential knowledge. So, which knowledge? So, what he talked about, that religion, dharma, artha, kam is only part of the Vedas, and fourth is a liberation, but a pure devotee is not at all interested in all this. Only thing he is interested is in devotional service. It is stated here that this confidential knowledge is extremely difficult to understand, yet it is very easy to understand if one takes shelter of a pure devotee. This confidential knowledge is also mentioned at the end of Bhagavad Gita, where the Lord says, Sarvdharman Parityaja, abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. This knowledge is an extremely confidential secret, but it can be understood if one approaches the Supreme Personality of Godhead through the bona fide agent, the spiritual master in the disciplic succession from Narad Muni. Prahlad Maharaj wanted to impress upon the sons of demons that although such knowledge can be understood only by a saintly person like Narad, they should not be disappointed. For if one takes shelter of Narad instead of material teachers, this knowledge is possible to understand. Understanding does not depend upon high parentage. The living entity is certainly pure on the spiritual platform. And therefore, anyone who attains a spiritual platform by the grace of the spiritual master can also understand this confidential knowledge. So to understand and to make progress on this, only thing one needs is sincerity and just take shelter of a bona fide spiritual master. And Prabhupada says either knowledge or either Narad Muni or in a disciplic subsection coming from Narad. And then one can make progress. It's not that one has to have high parentage or not good education or money or any other qualities. There is no other quality required. Shrutam etan maya purvam jnana vijnana samyutam dharmam bhagavatam shuddham naradada devadarshana. Prahlad Maharaj continued, because his friends asked him actually that how come you understood all this? Where did you learn it from? So he continued, I received this knowledge from the great Saint Narad Muni, who was always engaged in devotion service. This knowledge, which is called Bhagavad Dharma, is fully scientific. It is based on logic and philosophy and is free from all material contamination. So this is how pure devotional service is. It is based on logic and philosophy. It's not just sentimentalism like people like to say. No, it's fully scientific also. Shri Daityaputra Uchuhu Prahlad Tvam Vayam Chapi Narte Anyam Vidmahe Gurum Etabhyam Guruputrabhyam Balanam Api Yeshwaro Balasyanta Purasthasya Mahatsango Duranvaya Chindi Naha Sanchayam Somya Syached Visrambhakaranam. The sons of the demons replied, Dear Prahlad, neither you nor we know any teacher or spiritual master other than Shanda and Amrita, the sons of Shukracharya. After all, we are children and they are our controllers. For you especially, who always remains within the palace, it is very difficult to associate with the great personality. Dear friend, most gentle one, would you kindly explain how it was possible for you to hear Narad? Kindly dispel our doubts in this regard. So now the sons are his friends are asking, how did you learn it from Narad Muni? He never came to our Gurukul and you never get out of your palace. So where do you meet him? So thus ends the 6th chapter of Bhagavatam, 7th canto. And so we'll start the 7th chapter. What Prahlad learned in the womb. Text 1. Shri Narad Uvacha. Evam Daitya Sutah Prishto Mahabhagavato Vasuraha Vachatanasmaya Manaha Smaran Mad Anubhashitam. Narad Muni said, although Prahlad Maharaj was born in a family of Asuras, he was the greatest of all devotees. Having thus been questioned by his class friends, the sons of the Asuras, he remembered the words spoken to him by me and replied to his friends as follows. So again, who's the spiritual master? Narad Muni. So far, in every case, the spiritual master has been Narad Muni in Bhagavatam. Whether it is Vyasadeva, whether it is Dhruv Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, Prachin Marishad, Prachetas, everybody that we look at, Narad Muni is the one giving the instructions. When he was in the womb of his mother, Prahlad Maharaj listened to the words of Narad Muni. One cannot imagine how the baby in embryo could hear Narad, but this is spiritual life. Progress in spiritual life cannot be obstructed by any material condition. This is called ahatuki apratihata. The reception of spiritual knowledge is never checked by any material condition. Thus, Prahlad Maharaj from his very childhood spoke spiritual knowledge to his class friends, and certainly it was effective, although all of them were children. So body is not a limitation, and where the body is not a limitation for devotional service, because hearing, the soul can hear in any condition of life. So that is why Mahaprabhu has given us instruction of doing Sankirtan. So when we carry out Sankirtan, even if we don't see any person here, so many microbes are there, insects are there, trees are there, they all can listen and get benefited. So this is how powerful the holy name is, and soul can really get benefited by hearing this Harinam. And actually, this is the only way to bring peace and prosperity in the world right now. There's no other way. Shri Prahlad Uvacha Pitri Prasthite Asmakam Tapse Mandarachalam Yuddhodimam Param Chakrur Vibudha Danavan Prati. Prahlad Maharaj said, when our father Hiranyakashipu went to Mandarachal mountain to execute severe austerities, in his absence, the demigods, headed by King Indra, made a severe attempt to subdue all the demons in warfare. So when Hiranyakashipu was absent, so Indra and the other demigods, they tried to subdue the demons. Pipilikar Hiriv Dishtya Loko Patapanaha Papen Papo Abhakshiti Vadanto Vasavadaya. Alas, as a serpent is eaten by small ants, so the troublesome Hiranyakashipu, who always inflicted miseries upon all types of people, has now been defeated by the reactions of his own sinful activities. Saying this, the demigods headed by King Indra arranged to fight the demons. So first, they were disturbed disturbed by Hiranyaksha, who was very, very powerful. And after Hiranyaksha was killed, now Hiranyakashipu was giving them trouble. So, but Hiranyakashipu went for tapasya to gain more powers so he can win over these demigods. But since he was absent, King Indra arranged to fight the demons. Tesham ati balodyogam nishamya surayutapa madhyamana surarabhita tudruvu sarvato disham kalatra putra vittaptan grihan pashu parichadan naveksham mahanas tvaritaha sarve prana paripsavaha. When the great leaders of the demons who were being killed one after another saw the unprecedented exertion of the demigods in fighting, they began to flee, scattering themselves in all directions. Simply to protect their lives, they hastily fled from their homes, wives, children, animals, and household paraphernalia. Paying no heed to all these, the demons simply fled. So there's always fight between demigods and demons in the universe. And the idea is simple one idea. Who can control over whatever the land or the planet and the property, and who can enjoy it? And this has been going on since the beginning of creation. When demons get powerful, they defeat the demigods, and demigods get powerful, they defeat the demons. Demigods win most of the time because they take shelter of the Lord. And demons, they try to do this tapasya and they try to gain some power. And when they get powerful, they defeat the demigods. And demigods run away. That's the world. That's the material world. People will keep on fighting. People will try to, no, I am the controller now. This land is my land. That land is your land. So you don't come here, but I will come over and take over. And this or that. There's fighting. There's that. Always going on. That's the craziest thing to do, actually. Vyalumpanna Raja Shiviram Mamara Jaya Kankshina Indrastu Raja Maheshim Mataram Mam Chagrahit. The victorious demigods plundered the palace of Hiranyakashipu, the king of the demons, and destroyed everything within it. Then Indra, king of heaven, arrested my mother, the queen. So if demons had won, they would also have destroyed the palace of Indra, but now Indra and party won, so they destroyed the palace of Hiranyakashipu. Niyamanam bhayodvignam rudatim kurarim iva yatrichya gatastatra devarshir dadrishe pati. Devarshi dadrishe pati. As she was being led away, crying in fear like a kurari captured by a vulture, the great sage Narad, who at that time had no engagement, appeared on the scene and saw her in that condition. So who at that time had no engagement? It's not like that. Narad Muni always has engagement, always has service to do. He doesn't just appear any place. There is some purpose. The Lord guides him to come to that place. Prahanenam surupate netum arhasya anagasam munch mahabhaga satim parigriham. Narada Muni said, O Indra, king of the demigods, this woman is certainly sinless. You should not drag her off in this merciless way. O greatly fortunate one, this chaste woman is a wife of another. You must immediately release her. So this is really dharma. Narad Muni is telling you cannot do that to a woman. You should not drag her off in this merciless way. Just release her. Shri Indruvacha Aste asya jathare viryam avishayam suradvisha asyatam yavat prasavam mokshe artha padavim gataha. King Indra said, in the womb of this woman, the wife of the demon Hiranyakashipu, is the seed of that great demon. Therefore, let her remain in our custody until her child is delivered, and then we shall release her. Indra, the king of heaven, decided to arrest Prahlad Maharaj's mother because he thought that another demon, another Hiranyakashipu, was within her womb. The best course, he thought, was to kill the child when the child was born, and then the woman could be released. So he didn't even think of doing the abortion. Although same Indra went into the womb of Diti and tried to kill that embryo, and the embryo, it was cut into 7, and then again 7 into 7, 49 babies were formed. And they all looked at Indra, why? We are your brothers. Why are you trying to kill us? Also, they all became Maruts later on. But here Indra is saying, will not kill the mother and will not go inside and kill the womb. Let the baby be born and then we'll do something. But Narad Muni says, Shri Narad Uvacha, Ayam Nishkilbisha Sakshan Mahabhagavato Mahan Tvaya na prapsyate sanstham anantanucharo bali. Narad Muni replied, the child within this woman's womb is faultless and sinless. Indeed, he is a great devotee, a powerful servant of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, you'll not be able to kill him. See? So the Lord had sent Narad Muni to protect Prahlad Maharaj. And not just to protect, to bring them to his ashram. And here, look at the words that Narad Muni used. He did not say you should not kill him because it's a great devotee, it's a baby. He said, you will not be able to kill him. Huge difference, big difference in the wording. So even Indra, Narad Muni tells him, he is such a great devotee, a powerful servant of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. You will not be able to kill him. Narad Muni is saying that about Prahlad Maharaj, so Indra will definitely just follow the orders. There have been many instances in which demons and non-devotees have attempted to kill a devotee, but they have never been able to destroy a great devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Lord promises in Bhagavad Gita, Kaunteya pratijanihi name bhakta pravishati. This is a declaration by the Supreme Personality of Godhead that his devotee cannot be killed by demons. Prahlad Maharaj is a vivid example of the truth of this promise. Narad Muni told the king of heaven, it would be impossible for you to kill the child, even though you are demigods, and certainly it would be impossible for others. So great announcement by Narad Muni. Iti uktastam vihayendro devarshe ramanyan vachaha anantapriya bhaktyanam parikramya divam yayo. When the great saint Narad Muni had thus spoken, King Indra, being respectful to Narad's words, immediately released my mother. Because of my being a devotee of the Lord, all the demigods circumambulated her. Because a great Vaishnava, great devotee is in the womb of that lady. So they did parikrama of that Kayadu. Kayadu was the name of Prahlada's mother. Then they returned to their celestial kingdom because their purpose was not to kill the baby, but they thought it was another demon of Hiranyakashipu, like Hiranyakashipu. So they wanted to get rid of him. But since they heard, they understood it's a devotee, they had nothing to fear about him. And they just came back. Although King Indra and the other demigods were exalted personalities, they were so obedient to Narad Muni that King Indra immediately accepted Narad Muni's words concerning Prahlad Maharaj. This is called understanding by the Parampara system. Indra and the demigods did not know that the great devotee was in the womb of Kayadhu, the wife of Hiranyakashipu. But they accepted the authoritative statements of Narad Muni and immediately offered their respects to the devotee by circumambulating the woman in whose womb he was living. To understand God and the devotee by the Parampara system is a process of knowledge. There is no need to speculate about God and his devotee. One should accept the statements of a bona fide devotee and thus try to understand. So this is how Parampara system works. If you find a bona fide guru, one just needs to follow his orders, follow his instructions. That's it. No need to speculate. ततो मे मात्र ऋषि समानीय निजाश्रमे आश्वास्ये होष्यता मत्से yavate bhartu ragamaha. Prahlad Maharaj continued, the great saint Narad Muni brought my mother to his ashram and assured her of all protection, saying, my dear child, please remain at my ashram until the arrival of your husband. So this is how Narad Muni took care of the wife of greatest demon, Hiranyakashipu. So he didn't have any animosity towards her. And although her husband has already committed so many crimes and offenses and sinful activities, and after he's going to come back, he's going to do much more. But still, Narad Muni was so gentle to this lady and the womb and the embryo in her womb, the baby in the womb. Although Srila Prabhupada said this whole thing happened in the heavenly planets, this whole incident of Hiranyakashipu, but maybe some other kalpa means the day of Brahmaji, some times maybe the pastime happened on earth also. Because in one place I had read that Narad Muni, when he brought Kayadhu to his ashram, so that ashram is in the Parikrama Marg of Giriraj Govardhan. So Kusum Sarovar, when we cross Kusum Sarovar, although we don't go to, there is a place on the left-hand side, we have to go a little bit inside, and that's called Narad Muni Ashram. So that was the place where Narad Muni brought Kayadhu and Prahlad Maharaj was in the womb of his mother. So there is a place at Govardhan. And also at that place, Narad Muni wrote this Narad Pancharatra. No, Narad Bhakti Sutra, I'm sorry. Narad Bhakti Sutra is a book that he wrote at that place. Tatheti vatasi devarshe ramtike sakuto bhaya yavad daitya pater ghora tapso na nyavartata. After accepting the instructions of Devarshi Narad, my mother stayed in his care without fear from any direction, as long as my father, the king of the Daityas, had not become free from his severe austerities. Rishim paricharat tatra bhaktya paramaya sati antarvatni swar garbhasya shemai echa prasutaye. My mother, being pregnant, desired the safety of her embryo and desired to give birth after her husband's arrival. Thus she stayed at Narad Muni's ashram, where she rendered service unto Narad Muni with great devotion. So another peculiar thing, as we know, Hiranyakashipu performed tapasya for 100 celestial years. So when he left for tapasya, Kayadhu was pregnant. And here it is said, She desired to give birth after her husband's arrival. So Prahlad Maharaj was in the womb of his mother for at least 100 celestial years, if not more. So from earthly point of view, 36,000 years he was in the womb. It's just unbelievable. It is said in Srimad Bhagavatam, Patra Sushra Dhritrava. One should not remain in a secluded place with a woman, even one's mother, sister, or daughter. Nonetheless, although one is strictly prohibited from staying with women in a secluded place, Narad Muni gave shelter to Prahlad Maharaj's young mother, who rendered service to him with great devotion and faith. Does this mean that Narad Muni transgressed the Vedic injunctions? Certainly he did not. Such injunctions are intended for mundane creatures, but Narad Muni is transcendental to mundane categories. Narad Muni is a great saint and is transcendently situated. Therefore, although he was a young man, he could give shelter to a young woman and accept her service. Haridas Thakur also spoke with the young woman, a prostitute, in the dead of night. But the woman could not deviate his mind. Instead, she became a Vaishnavi, a pure devotee, by the benediction of Haridas Thakur. Ordinary persons, however, should not imitate such highly elevated devotees. Ordinary persons must strictly observe the rules and regulations by staying aloof from the association of women. No one should imitate Narad Muni or Haridas Thakur. It is said, Vaishnava Kriya Mudra Vigya Inavujay. Even if a man is very advanced in learning, he cannot understand the behavior of a Vaishnava. Anyone can take shelter of a pure Vaishnava without fear. Therefore, in the previous verse, it has been distinctly said, Kayadhu, the mother of Prahlad Maharaj, stayed under the protection of Narad Muni without fear from any direction. Similarly, Narad Muni in his transcendental position stayed with a young woman without fear of deviation. Narad Muni, Haridas Thakur, and similar acharyas, especially empowered to broadcast the glories of the Lord, cannot be brought down to the material platform. Therefore, one is strictly forbidden to think that Acharya is an ordinary human being. So Narad Muni is not an ordinary human being. So whatever he does, it's ultimately for the benefit. And he did not transgress any injunctions. Those injunctions are actually for us, for people like us, so that we can make progress. Narad Muni is already a spiritual person. So there was no transgression on his part when he brought Kayadhu to his ashram to stay there for not just for 1-2 years, 100 celestial years. Long time. Okay, so I'll stop here. See anybody has any questions or comments? Okay, so you all have a safe and wonderful day. Hare Krishna. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare